us first to do what? Matthew 28:19 says, "Go ye."
Go ye therefore and teach all nations.
Teach all nations. And in the other Gospels, it says preach. What is the difference between preach and teach?
Preach means to like give warnings.
Mm-hmm.
And teach means to like give information about.
Right. Teaching is more information. Preaching is more like admonishment or giving a warning. You know, hey, wake up! Don't be dumb. You know, so that's why preachers, when they preach, they get loud. You go, hey, man, you gotta do this and that, and the Lord is coming. You gotta wake up and smell my coffee. Right? So that's preaching. That guy is preaching. Now, but teaching is, you know, what we're doing here. I'm teaching. I'm breaking everything down so you can understand it, and you have questions. I'm answering your questions. Okay. So which one is better? Teaching has long-lasting effects, right? Preaching is good for the moment, especially when nobody's paying attention. You got a crowd, you gotta wake them up. So preaching is good. It has its place, but teaching is what you don't go to school to get preached to, right? We all go and we get taught. We go and get teaching. Teaching stays with you. You know, how many preachings had my pastor done in his day with me? You know, I can't remember all of it, but the teaching stays. And in preaching, there's some teaching, you know, but that's what stays with you in the final analysis is the teaching. So we have to go and teach all nations, teach all nations. What else did Jesus say for us to do?
Ask.
Huh? Well, those are the things, but I'm talking about doing the work. What is the work that he said? He says it right there. He's telling them what we should be doing. What is it?
Baptizing them in the name of the Father and the Son and of the Holy Ghost.
Yeah. So basically, what we're supposed to be doing as Christians.
Teaching others and baptizing.
Right. Remember what we talked about last week? The 5 things that we're supposed to be doing in this church. It started with what? Teaching somebody, right? We have to be teaching. So that is what we do. This issue of being Christian and just going to church to sit down, that's not Christianity. That's not Christianity. That's not what being Christian is about. Okay? And even, you know what, there's people here who were born in the Catholic Church, right? Even the Catholic Church, that's not even, that's not what you're supposed to do. Not even in the Catholic. Do you know what they call the Catholic service? What do they call it? You should know. Fish. Oh, man. No, don't tell me. Did you start off in the Catholic Church? You didn't start off in the Catholic, did you?
Oh, Pentecostal.
Oh, Pentecostal. Okay, so what do you know about Catholic? You started Catholic. Anyone else start Catholic?
Yeah,
huh? I'll get to that. But in the case of the Catholic, I mean, they go to church and it's called a Mass. You ever heard of Mass?
Mass.
Like in Christmas?
Oh. Or wait.
Do you know that Christmas is a service, right? It's church.
Christmas?
Christmas is about church. It's not just a holiday for giving gifts.
Yeah, I knew that.
Right. So that's what it means. Christ Mass. That's what that Christmas means.
Like impact. Mass means impact, right?
No.
Mass is a weight. You know the measurement.
That's like a different. Yeah.
Well, it's hard to tell in the English, and when it's converted into English, it's hard to tell. In the Latin, it's known, and in the Latin, it's called missio, or in Spanish, misa, la misa, and in Latin, missio. Does anyone now know what Mass means? Does that ring a bell? Huh?
What? I don't know what it is.
Missio. Spelled M-I-S-S-I-O.
Like a lesson?
Well, you're getting there. You have some hinting. Your brain is hinting at something. Missio. M-I-S-S-I-O.
You asked.
Or M-I-S-I-O, but it'll ring more of a bell with the double S's. M-I-S-S-I-O.
Mission.
Thank you. Somebody woke up this morning. Mission, yes, missio. Mission. And you got words like emission, right, and intermission, right, and transmission, right? All those missing. Now, what does all this have to do? All those things I said. It has to do with motion, movement. Actually, the word mass means go on your way. Isn't that strange?
And it's spelled the same?
What do you mean?
It's spelled Mass and Mass.
In English, but in Spanish or Latin it's misa. In Latin it's misio. Now, why would they call a service go on your way?
Go on your way?
Yeah. Does that make any sense?
Go on your way.
That's cute. I like that.
It's like cute.
Yeah, it's cute.
You have to go and teach others?
The Mass was originally the last part of the service. It is what basically today the Protestant churches call the benediction. You've heard of that? It's something the pastor would say at the end of the service. Go now in peace and in the Lord's love. Share the love to the world. That's his last salutation. It's his last blessing upon the church. And it's a call for the church to do what it's supposed to do. That was where the missio of the Catholic service came from. It came from, now go ye in peace and go spread the gospel. Go ye and teach all nations. That is the missio. That is the mission. That's the misa. That is the Mass. Because that is what we're supposed to be doing. When we're not in church, we're supposed to be going out on the mission. And the mission is to go and teach all nations of the Lord and to bring them to baptism, to the foot of the cross, and to have them be baptized and be part of the church. That is the mission. And that's what we should be doing when we're not in church. That's why the Catholic Mass is called Mass, Missio. And that's the main part. They kept the missio, they kept the mission because that is the important part. Is that what they're doing in the majority? No. And that's true with every church. In the majority, they're not doing the missio. They're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. How many people here thought that just going to church was what you're supposed to do? Right? I actually appreciate that honesty. That's it. Most people believe that just going to church is all they have to do for God. Is all they have to do to be religious or spiritual. I'm not.
You can stay home and you can still be saved.
Well, can you be saved if you're disobedient?
No. But, you can still praise God, at home and everything.
You have to. Every Christian has to. But they also have to submit to a pastor. They have to be a part of the group. Because if that was true, then Jesus wouldn't have his disciples with him. And that wherever Jesus went, the disciples were there. So as a Christian, you're required to follow the leader. You have to be there with your teacher because the teacher is the one who is helping you and guiding you and teaching you the things that he already knows and sharing with you. So you can't just stay home, like you say. You can be home and praise God. You can be home. You're a Christian all the time. You have to be 24 hours 7 wherever you're at. And if you can't get to church where you need to be church where you're at. You are the church, right? But having a church and having a church near you, that means that you need to go to church and be, God had placed pastors to be watching the sheep. And so you need to be, if you're not a pastor, you need to be a sheep, a lamb in the fold. And have a pastor oversee you and pray for you and be watching out for you. Okay, so that's a requirement. It's in the Bible. God did tell them to do that. Again, he said, go and teach them. You can't teach them, they're not going to church. They're not following you. You're not going to teach them, so that's what you have to do. You understand? The only people who really don't go to church are the ones who are teaching others. And they are the church. But those others are the church with them. See? So it's like if I wouldn't go to church, I don't go to another church, right? Because I have my own church. I'm teaching people. So that's when you don't go to church, so to speak. Because you are the church. You are teaching people. And together you form the church.